The sea breathes against the Brighton shore, a slow, patient rhythm, an inhalation and exhalation that slips under the windows and through the cracks of the town like a secret nobody wants to announce. It is September, 1984. The air tastes faintly of salt and diesel. From the pier, there's a promise of chips and fried batter, and somewhere a radio plays a song you half remember. Neon flashes off the wet stones, and a gull cuts the dark like a shard of white. From the street, the Grand Hotel looks composed, respectable, a pale block of stone with chandeliers kept bright behind the glass. Inside, the lobby hums with small domestic noises, the clink of glasses, the soft murmur of voices, the low thud of a suitcase on carpet. A porter in a dark uniform pushes a trolley, and the brass of the lift glows under his palm. Faces pass through the foyer, polite and hurried. No one lingers to look up. At the desk, a pen scratches across card. He signs slowly, each letter measured. Roy Walsh. He gives a London address, an invented line, and pays in cash for 3 nights. He asks for a high room, as if asking for a favour from a friend. The receptionist slides the key across the counter. Her smile is automatic, practiced. People sign their names here like small confessions. No one expects to be read. The lift smells faintly of perfume. The corridor carpet swallows sound. He walks with the same even gait as the guests who come for conferences and banquets, for earnest speeches and staged applause. He counts doors, listens to televisions behind closed curtains, laughter, the static of late-night news, the clatter of cutlery. Room 629 is at the end of a short run of doors, a pale rectangle with a brass number, nothing remarkable. He pushes the key in. The latch clicks. The door closes behind him with the soft, self-assured finality of a place built to keep secrets. The room is cool, the radiator ticks. The wallpaper is patterned in a way that seems determined to be tasteful. A heavy bath sits under a frosted window that looks out towards the pier lights, which blink through a fine mist. There is the faint ghost of perfume and polishing oil, the smell of a place kept ready for important arrivals. He sets his bag down and unzips it with slow, deliberate fingers. Inside are bundles wrapped in plastic, neat and clinical. He brings them out onto the dressing table. The smell whispers up, an almond tang that wants to be recognised, gelignite, wrapped and layered against detection. He handles it the way someone might handle a fragile instrument, careful, practised, respectful in a way only the driven become. He assembles the mechanism in a bright cone of lamplight. Thin wires run like veins beneath the surface. A timer, jury-rigged from a video cassette recorder, sits like a small metronome. A memo park unit tucks in as well, its shape familiar to anyone who has ever opened an old machine. He works without haste. Each movement is economical, as if he is folding time into shape. He eats in the hotel restaurant the day he arrives. He meets a man whose face will later be remembered only as a nickname, the Pope. They talk in low voices. Waiters pass with silver platters and the small chime of cutlery. Staff see 2 strangers speaking and think little of it. Hospitality trains you to see only the surface of interactions. 2 women arrive with packages on another evening. They move through the hotel with casual competence, their faces the kind that fade from memory. They hand off what needs handing off and leave, folding back into the life of the town. The fewer people who touch the edges of a plan like this, the quieter it runs. The fewer the faces, the lower the risk of noise. At night he sleeps in the room, but lightly. Eyes open to the creak of floorboards, the distant slam of a door, the television's low background talk. He wakes before dawn sometimes, listening to the sea, like a man trying to tune a known frequency. The light that slips in through the curtains is thin and patient and does not hurry him. On the 3rd night he works late. The toilet panel comes off with a practised tug. He eases the device into place, tucking wires out of sight, sealing cloth and plastic to mask the smell. The plastic layers sit like a skin over something forbidden. Every seam is checked. Every potential sound is considered and neutralized. He fits the battery pack, counts the connections, and sets the time with the calm somebody has when they have done this, enough to be untroubled by the enormity of it. Afterwards, he orders vodka and Coca-Cola to be sent to the room. The drinks arrive with an unblinking efficiency. Ice knocks against glass. He lifts the cup once, listening to the small, ordinary noises. A lift descending. The distant clink of glass in the lounge. For a moment he lets himself be a guest again, folding into the hotel's rhythm so completely that his presence becomes invisible. In the morning, around 9, he checks out. He folds a false identity into a polite nod at the desk, slides a key back across the counter, and steps onto the pavement where the air is clean with the day. To anyone watching, he is one of millions who move through a city with errands and reasons. The lie is perfect because it looks like honesty. Behind him, room 629 shuts its door on the hotel's bright normality. To Magee, it is the focus of years of anger and memory. He remembers the Maze prison. 2 years locked away without trial, days stretching into nights that smelled of concrete and accusation. The silence pressing down like iron. The walls whispering the same truth over and over. Power can bend law, bend justice, and leave ordinary people crushed beneath it. Every hour, there is proof of a government that acts without mercy, without accountability. Across Belfast, Derry, and beyond, he has heard the stories of families torn apart, miners striking and losing everything, communities broken. Thatcher is not just a figure in a photograph or a voice on the television. To Magee, she is the embodiment of what he has suffered, a living symbol of authority that he believes must be confronted. Every step he takes in this hotel, every careful motion in room 629, is measured against that purpose. Not for glory, not for fame, but for a message. Power can be challenged, even from a small room overlooking the indifferent sea. A single act can force the world to notice. Brighton wakes like any other town by the sea. Gulls circle, lorries rumble along the seafront, their brakes hissing in the damp morning air. Cafe doors unlock, lights flicker on, and the smell of coffee and salt begins to mix with the breeze. It is ordinary, beautifully, dangerously ordinary. The conference draws closer. Flyers are printed, security checks begin, staff prepare for the arrival of ministers and delegates. Lorries deliver boxes of tablecloths, banners, and bottled water. Downstairs, the hotel hums with anticipation. Bookings confirm, menus finalise, flower arrangements arrive. Every voice is light, busy, unaware. Somewhere, a radio hums with the news. Miners still on strike. Speeches planned. The Prime Minister expected to address the party faithful. And up on the 6th floor, under the faint scent of cleaning powder and polished chrome, the clock continues its invisible work. Then on the horizon the motorcades begin to appear. Black cars, police escorts. Security radios crackle with clipped instructions. The conference has arrived. The ministers are here. The Prime Minister will sleep in the Grand. And above her room, a few inches of tile and timber away, the silence keeps counting down. The seafront shimmers in early October light. Brighton is dressed for company. Flags whip in the wind. Bunting trembles above the promenade. Cars pull up outside the Grand in a steady rhythm. Black saloons, press vans, taxis with meters still ticking. Every few minutes a new name is checked in. Ministers, secretaries, journalists, security men in plain suits. By evening the hotel is full. Corridors echo with laughter and shoe leather, the clink of ice in glasses, the murmur of television sets tuned to the same news. Bodyguards check their watches. The Prime Minister is due tomorrow. The Grand Hotel hums with late-night energy. It's just after 2 in the morning. The conference is winding down. Speech is done. Interviews recorded. The bar is crowded with the few who linger. Laughing, swaying slightly. The smell of whiskey and cigarette smoke thick in the air. Richard Whiteley leans against the polished counter, tie loosened, hair slightly mussed. He lifts his glass. To survive in another day, he laughs. His co-workers cheer and clink glasses. Someone tells a joke about a missing minister. Everyone groans, then laughs again. The atmosphere is warm, careless, a bubble of merriment in a hotel full of politics and ambition. Room 629, silent. Beneath the bath, the bomb ticks steadily. Each mechanical beat measured, final, unrelenting. Red LED blinking faintly beneath layers of plastic. The heart of a machine counting down the end of this calm night. Whiteley and his colleagues are joking now about tomorrow's interviews, leaning close so laughter carries over the clatter of glass. One spills a bit of whiskey and wipes it on his sleeve. Someone else mock gasps, prompting another round of laughter. The hallway is quiet but for soft cleaning trolleys echoing in the distance. No one suspects the stillness above. The hotel is breathing in its sleep, yet held taut like a bowstring. The device waits, patient, meticulous, inevitable. Downstairs, Whiteley raises another glass. One for the record books, he says, a chuckle. Another toast. The echoing clink of glass mingles with fading laughter. And then, a flash, a roar. The floor shakes, walls collapse inward. Glass shatters, rain of crystal and tile. The laughter cuts off mid-sentence. Screams rise, smoke floods the corridors, dust chokes the light, the bar, the tables, the laughing journalists, swallowed by chaos. Outside, alarms wail, thin, over the sound of falling masonry. The sea's rhythm is still there, indifferent, brushing the shore. Brighton is awake now, alive in horror. Room 629 beneath the bath, silence. The clock has stopped.